Good evening, guys, and happy Tuesday to all of your sunshiny faces. I have still got pictures all over the place right now that need to be gone through and organized. Yeah, I don't feel much closer. Actually, the piles feel as big as they did yesterday, and I'm feeling a little discouraged, like I haven't done much better. I guess the only good news is that we had a couple of picture albums that were pretty like destroyed. The ones that have got like that old school, like from the 80s, maybe 90s or whatever, the like sticky paper that you'd stick the pictures in and then you like fold the plastic stuff over it. It's not like a modern day picture album where you just slide the pictures into the, you know, the little sections or whatever. All of those ones, which we had a lot of them from my mom, like when she was, you know, kind of around that age. I don't really know, like I feel like it was kind of like an 80s thing or so, maybe a 70s thing, but I feel like a 70s thing was more, my grandma has these boxes of pictures that has little slots in them. But anyways, I don't know why, like my mom and my grandma especially used this kind of picture album the whole time. It may be, like I said, it was just sort of the popular thing or whatever, but they're the, like I said, the sticky ones. And so after like what, 40 years, the stickiness has started to wear off of them. And so the pictures, when you're flipping through the page, half the times the pictures are all slid over to one side, so they're actually like doubled up on each other, or like because it's not sticky anymore. And the pictures have like stopped sticking to the pictures. So it tended to be a problem. And so like you can't see half the pictures, and then on top of that too, it's that, you know, we've got all of these albums with loose pictures that are falling out of them, and you know, it was just, like I said, a big problem. So we got rid of a couple of albums, obviously saved all the pictures, but we got rid of a couple of albums, which means we have more loose pictures. Because not only that too, but just the regular ones where you slide the pictures, you know, into the little spaces and stuff like that, a couple of those were also really like, they feel like they were cheaper quality, but they were really like also sort of torn to shreds too. And you know, just because this one was like a particularly big one that had like 3 slots, and so I think when you turn the page, like the plastic started tearing away from like the binder sort of clip, like what that is. And yeah, it just, like I said, it was kind of they started to become a mess, and it was hard to even turn the pages and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, should we get rid of these? And then I asked my mom too, like, you know, can we try and reorganize these as well, because they're kind of all over the place also. And so it was, you know, like I said, kind of frustrating. So I ended up, like I said, got rid of I think 3 photo albums. I didn't go through any of the other ones though, that's the problem. And I know like the boxes that my grandma had that had pictures in them, probably from like the 70s, those ones are like, the boxes are kind of crushed and like, yeah. So I don't really know, guys. It's been kind of a struggle like these last 2 days trying to organize all these pictures, but I felt encouraged yesterday because I was like, I haven't been working at it this long and I got a whole ton done, and like, you know, I got so much organized and stuff like that. And this is really my box of like everything that is organized, you know. And I have them, like I was telling you guys too, I have them organized by year basically. Like this one, I'm probably gonna need a bigger bag for the little picture of me on there. This one was like 1997. So, and then I tried to organize everything also by, not date, but like pretty much, I guess, at least by month. And then if it had like the stamp, like the photo stamp on there, then I would do it by date as well, but at least like sort of by month. Camera, they didn't just use like, just dispose like a photo timestamp on there, but half the time it seemed like it was screwed up, because I think I was telling you guys too in yesterday's vlog, it said 1994, and there were pictures with me that looked like I was like 2 or 3 years old, and I was born in 95, so clearly that was not the right date. So And like stuff too where it was like Thanksgiving, it said it was January. I was like, that's definitely not right. And finally at some point I think my dad was like, yeah, we figured out how to finally fix it, and then the date started to be right after that. But it was like sometimes before that was okay, and then something happened to it and then they were all wrong, and then sometime after that was fixed again. That's been a little frustrating too. Like I've got two stacks. I had 3 stacks. I have 2 stacks now of photos that I don't know what date they belong in. And what I've been trying to do, which has been useful, is using context clues. So if I was like, oh, I was wearing that in another picture that somebody actually had written on the back of what it was from or something like that, or like, oh, me and my cousins were all at the same thing for this or whatever, you know, then I could kind of figure out and piece together. So I've been doing a ton of that and actually have been able to get a lot of it organized. My mom appreciates it. I'm sure she does. I think she just doesn't appreciate that this table has been sitting in her living room for 2 days now. And I've been sitting in here trying to organize it. And then I was like, well, maybe I can just try and get like some Ziplocs of stuff. Maybe put a couple of like the unknown stuff just in like a shoebox for right now or something like that. And then try and do too, like, because these were the pictures I think I was telling you guys yesterday. These are like the really old ones. Like this is a super old picture of my grandma with my great-great-grandmother. Like for those pictures, I had all of those pretty much from, I don't remember exactly what year my grandma was born, but pretty much I think it's mainly like the 50s and 60s. I have all of those pictures sort of in a stack, and there's not that many of them. And then everything from the 70s, which my mom was born in 70, so all of that stuff is also in a stack. And then I have stuff, wait, no, yes. And then I have stuff from, yeah, the 80s then after that, which was like my mom was in high school and everything. And then the 90s up until before I was born. I have a stack of that as well. And that would have been from like 90 to 95. Pretty much up until, well actually I took I think 95 out, so everything from 95 that I knew for sure was 95 I took out. I think what I'm going to do though, because it is just a small stack of pictures, like I could just put that in a bag individually and just say that was everything like from 90 to basically 94, so over 4 years. And then this stack is everything from the 80s. Again, my mom has a lot of stuff, and my grandma does too, in some of those other ones that I'm pretty sure are kind of falling apart as well. So that's why I am, like I said, the 70s actually, there's a lot of photos here. We've got a pretty decent stack, but I feel like that was because, again, I went through 2 albums that were my grandma's. So they were obviously like photos of my mom when she was little that were, like I said, falling apart. All the pictures were falling out of them. The binding on them was like half of them were broken and stuff like that. But then again too, this is basically everything from the 50s and 60s that I have there, and that one is a small little stack too, so I could put those in like a small little bag. And then my parents' wedding photos, I have all of that too, separated, just because there was obviously a ton of pictures taken for that. And then too, like the stuff like kind of leading up to it too, like my mom's bridal shower and stuff like that, all in a stack. And then I have like a random little stack of all of our like Christmas cards that we've gotten from people as well. And I obviously don't want to show you guys all this because some of it is not, you know, there's other people in the photos too. And then I'll be honest guys, we took one vacation 1 year. This is how many photos are in here. It's crazy. It was like a huge family vacation, and I'm pretty sure that my mom ended up getting like double prints of things to like share, but we still have some of the double prints. It's kind of like out of control, but how many photos of those we have. And I have to figure out too, my mom had them in one of the albums that was falling apart, but it was from 89. So I have to hope that I have a big enough bag that's gonna fit all of them, because again, some of them, this one which is from 2000, it is kind of really filled right now. So yeah, there's that. Then like I said, I have 2 big piles of unknown stuff that I know is from the 90s as well, that have me in them, but I can't tell you exactly what year, because like I was born in 95, and some of them are like, oh, I look super little in this picture, like this one for example. But could I tell you when, if that was like in, you know, because I was born in November, so could I tell you it wasn't January? No. So that's why, like, if it was January, then it was 96. So yeah. And then like other ones too, like I'll be honest guys, I'm not a good like depictor of like what ages people are. Like unless, like I could definitely tell if you were like an infant versus 4 years old, but like between like 2 and like 3 years old, like I wasn't even able to really tell myself apart. Like obviously like my first birthday I could tell I looked different, but then like between my second, I think, and my third birthday, or maybe my third and my fourth, I was like, I don't know which one's which. Like the only reason I did was because of what type of decorations my mom had up. But actually my first and second birthday were actually held at the same place, and I think maybe even my third birthday, so that's why I'm a little confused with some of the stuff. And then I have a stack of stuff that's between like 2000 to like 2005. Like I know Jack wasn't born yet, but Matthew was born, so but I'm not necessarily sure either, like where does that fit in, like what year was that, or possibly, and stuff like that. So that's why, like I said, I have that stuff sort of broken down so that then I can use context clues and sort of be like, oh, you know what, like my hair was cut this length. That's a really good one. Even though my mom tend to always have my hair short and with bangs, so it doesn't really help. But some cases too, I'm like, oh, it was really long, like in that part, like that must have been, you know, or like, oh, I had the same cut hair and I was wearing the same clothes, then it must have been the same time. Whereas like if I had longer hair and like the same clothes on, I'd be like, yeah, that probably wasn't actually the same time, or my mom had my hair up like one way or something like that. So yeah, it's been a fun experience going through all these pictures, but like, I don't know, like I said, my mom and dad aren't both like very organized people, but like for me, I was like, I really like seeing like, you know, sort of just the progression of like us aging and stuff like that, and being like, oh my gosh, like, you know, even to my cousins, I was like, I can't believe, like, you know, we were that little and stuff like that. Like it just brings back like a lot of good memories and everything. And so yeah, it's been a long process, but this is the first time I think my mom will ever officially have all of her photos organized. Like my grandma, so these were the boxes I was talking about that my grandma had, and these ones probably have mainly like 70s pictures in here, but like you guys can see like the top of that's kind of, it's sort of like this stuff is kind of broken on here, but they just sort of like the pictures sort of just like slide out like this. They're just on sort of like cardboard pieces, and gosh, now I got it stuck. I'm not gonna be able to get it back in. They're sort of bent out of shape, and so that's kind of the problem. The other one's really busted up pretty bad, but anyway, so like on these, my grandma actually had all of her pictures organized by like number, though she screwed it up multiple times and crossed stuff out and had to rewrite it. But then she also would have on there box 1 and box 2, so it was easy to figure out, like if you took a picture out, you knew where it went back in. And so I really appreciate that. I don't know if that the boxes are working so well anymore though, because again, they're just old, they've been through a lot. Just to be really organized. My mom, I don't think, was ever quite as organized as my grandma was at one point, and then I think, you know, my grandma just didn't really stay on top of it that much. But the one thing that frustrated me the most was that my mom was kind of good too. Like she had like baby books from like when I was little, when I was born, you know, that kind of stuff. And like the same with Matthew, and the same with Jack, but I can't find Jack's. I also can't find Matthew's when he was born either. I can find his baby book like once he was born, but like at the hospital, like but right before he was born. I can't find that one. I'm thinking it's up in the attic somewhere, or we also might have another box in the attic, which just terrifies me a little bit because that means I have to organize more stuff. But my mom was really good about that. It was just some points she just kind of would throw pictures randomly in albums and stuff like that, and like it had no real rhyme or reason, like I was telling you guys too. Mainly though, my mom wasn't that bad. Like she sort of like would set things up like, oh, this was our trip to so-and-so, and then like, you know, it would have like all of those pictures sort of in order. But my grandma was really bad about, like, there's pictures when my mom was little mixed in with pictures of like when we were little, my parents' wedding, like all on the same page, and then it would go, you flip the next page, it was all like pictures from the 70s, and you flip the next page and it's just a total mixture. Like my grandma would just, if there was a picture missing, she'd just stick a random one in there, and so you'd be like flipping through and be like, oh, look at all the pictures from when mom was little, and all of a sudden like, wait a second, that's me. And then, you know, like, yeah, it's kind of, my grandma frustrated me. Like she used to be really organized, and then it was like sort of like when she had grandkids, it seemed like she didn't care anymore. But when my mom was little, she had like her pictures organized. So yeah, but now I'm like, I'm gonna do this for my parents because one day, you know, like we're gonna be going through it and being like, we need this picture for something or something like that, and then we're never gonna be able to find it. You know, it just makes it easier. And also too, like I said, just going through the pictures and be like, oh my gosh, like I really wanted to look, or you know, my mom's like, oh, maybe I wanted to find a picture from like our wedding, or you know, like something like that, or oh, pictures from when you were little or something like that, or whatever. But it makes it easier to obviously find them. And it's so weird, guys, too, because I'm not learning, but just like looking at stuff. I was like, you know, the ones that have the timestamp that's right on them, I'm like flipping through and I was like, wow, like 2 days after you guys got together for Christmas, you went to this party and you went and did this thing, and you know, then you guys, you know, like my mom took me and my cousins out, like, you know, to go sledding or something, you know, like it was just like a couple days after that, like, you know, like we used to get together so much, like multiple times, like a month. And you know, especially around the holidays, I guess, and stuff like that, because there was a lot of birthdays and all that kind of stuff. It's just like I'm learning a lot and seeing like too, like, oh my gosh, my mom had me in the same outfit for like this Christmas celebration as the other one, you know, even though she did my hair different or something. But really, you know, like my parents went on a cruise one time too, and so, you know, there was looking through all of those pictures, and yeah, there was, like I said, just a lot. But like seeing actually when it happened too, like there was a couple of pictures that I found that were probably like the day or two before the cruise, that I was like, I think my grandma took of me because she was babysitting me while my parents ended up going. And so it's like, that's probably like, you know, they probably, my thought process is like, they probably decided, oh, we have to get the camera out so we can take it with us to vacation, and like snapped a couple pictures of me doing something, you know. And so, because it wasn't like, you know, back in that day, you didn't have just a camera on your phone that you had with you all the time. It was like, you know, you just remember to take the camera out and you'd snap a picture or something like that, or again at holidays and events and stuff. So it's, like I said, it's been interesting kind of just going through and seeing how much stuff we used to do too, or you know, like, I don't know, just all kinds of different things. But like I said, I really enjoyed going through it. It's just been pain to go through all this stuff and try and get all of it organized and everything. So yeah, guys, I will see you all in tomorrow's vlog. Hopefully I will have everything organized by tomorrow. That would be lovely. But we're still also too at the same time unboxing stuff from like Christmas. So we've got boxes of pictures and Christmas stuff, and that's why I think too, my mom's like, I want to enjoy the living room, sort of. That's what I kind of feel like. And I've got still stuff sitting out all over the place on here, and I need to, like I said, I think I'm just gonna throw some of the stuff in like boxes or bags or something like that, for stuff that, you know, like I know of, just to sort of get it up out of the way, and then maybe go back through and organize everything like with a fine-tooth comb, but just so that I don't have this giant card table sitting out here and, you know, that kind of stuff. I can still like go through one album at a time or whatever, but I don't have to have everything sitting out. But the other thing too is that I could probably just set up something in my room, like even just on my bed, like have a couple stacks, but like, you know, or on my like lap desk or something, and go through pictures that way. But like right now, yeah, it's been 3 days almost, what will be tomorrow, going on 3 days worth of having these pictures in here. So yeah, I think it's time to kind of somewhat wrap some stuff up. But I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye, guys.